Hello and welcome to this video on the VanLab Nissan NV200 Campervan Conversion Kit. In the next 10 minutes or so, we plan to give you an overview of our VanLab NV200 Conversion Kit, how it works, what it is, how it fits into your van, and then really kind of dive into some of the features of this kit, how we've repurposed space in such a small area to deliver a kitchen, a living space, and a bed space. After this, we're actually going to pull up a 3D model of the van and spin it around in CAD so you can see in detail how it fits together and exactly how we're going to store everything in it. The really cool thing about this kit is it features a number of different modes. So we have like a living mode, a bed mode, a lounge mode, and kind of a storage mode. And so we're going to pull up 3D model and we're going to run through a bunch of different modes to show you how you get the best out of your kit, as well as talking about actually how to build it, how the DIY process works, and how we can install it for you. So taking a look at the NV200 kit, we've got 3 photos here. And on the left photo, you can see the sort of front bench. This is behind the driver and passenger seat. This is typically where you would store maybe like a porta potty and the battery, and it acts as a transverse bench across the front of the van. In the middle photo, you can see our kitchen unit. Now this is on the driver's side, left-hand side of the vehicle, and that's going to house your water storage, your food, your fridge. And you can see just there, we've got in the bottom corner, you can see one of the tables mounted off it. They're really key to this design, and we're going to discuss how they work in a bit more detail. Then in the right-hand photo, you can see the right-hand bench, and that makes up the bed, but also your main seating when you're in the van itself. So the idea of showing these photos is really just to orientate you to the kit and orientate you to the van. So you can see kitchen unit on the left, bench unit on the right, and then we have a transverse front bench unit at the front. Now, what's the process of actually building your van? So with the NV200, because it's a little smaller, we look at kind of installation as being optional. What we would tend to do is just add insulation inside kind of the wheel arch panels, because if you add too much insulation and too much paneling, you can really constrict the space in there. So what we tend to do is put insulation in the areas where we can, and then actually internally upholster the whole thing. This softens it off, does add quite a lot of additional warmth, and also maximizes the space available in the kit. So we get the paneling, the insulation in there first, then you do your first fix of wiring. This would be to run all the wires that you're about to cover up with your internal upholstery. So that's basically for the lighting, anything that's going to be in the ceiling, or anything that's going to be in the walls. The nice thing about this kit is the majority of the wiring actually runs through the kit itself. So really at this point, we're just concerning ourselves with any lighting or any ceiling fixtures that you might have, such as a max air fan or any ventilation. We would then do the internal upholstery. So we're going to actually glue a specific kind of stretchy fabric to all the internal surfaces. And then we will come through and build the furniture kit. And finally, you come in for your second fix or your final wiring, where we're actually connecting up all your appliances, and then it's onto the finishing touches. So the NV200 layout, basically on the left here, you can see like a plan view of the van. And this is kind of what we were saying earlier. On the left-hand side, you've got the kitchen unit. The right-hand side, you've got the bench seat unit. And then you have a transverse unit that goes across the front. One of the key features of this space, and because it is such a small space, you have to really be able to repurpose the area. And so you can see here, we have the bed configuration in the center picture and the seating configuration on the right. And you can see that the seating configuration, the 2 tables are up on the kitchen, and they can either be on the side of the kitchen or around the front of the kitchen unit. And then we have a backrest on the front transverse bench. By simply dropping the backrest down and dropping the 2 tables down onto the lower rail, we can create the bed configuration that you see on the left. Now this bed is just over 2 meters long, and it's basically a king single in terms of sizing. You sleep north-south, and pretty much you're laying from the very back of the van right up to the driver's seat and passenger seat. At this point, what we're going to do is actually open the 3D model and take a look how the kit works, how it fits together, what the storage options are, and then what the kind of individual modes are. So we have a 3D model of the van here, and this is the NV200 model. Now, with all VanLab kits, we start with an empty van. We take a 3D scan of that van, and then we work through as many design iterations as we can until we've really mastered exactly how to use the space. The NV200, I think this was the 7th or 8th design iteration before we could really work out how to deliver the best use of space in such a small area. One of the key things that we needed from this van was a nice indoor-outdoor flow. If we can maximize the use case of the van outside, it actually kind of essentially just gives you more area to play with in the van in total. So by dropping these 2 tables down, maybe 1 table down on the bottom rail, 1 table up on the top rail, you can actually stand out the back of your van and easily cook. It's a really nice kind of cooking area there, so you can stand out the back. Equally, you can run this table around the front and access it from this side door over here. Again, as with all VanLab kits, the idea of this is to basically make your build as simple as possible. So they are boiled down into basically a flat pack kit that we cut and we can ship to your door. We can also install for you, but yeah, it's designed to be really easy to install. The way that we achieve this is every single panel is numbered. So starting with the front bench, these will be A1, A2, A3. The middle bench will be B1, B2, B3, and then the kitchen will be C1, C2, C3. So if we open this part here, what we can see is that this is A1. Now, where A1 actually fits into the floor will also be labeled A1. We can see here. So what we're going to do is we're going to get the floor in, and then we're just going to find where it says A1, and then we're going to bring part A1 into that. What you'll also notice is that A1 has some tabs on it, and the floor has some slots. So only part A1 can fit in this location. All the tabs and slot system on the floor are completely unique to each part, so only the correct part can fit in the correct location, and it's offset so that this part can't go in through 180 degrees. If you tried to put this part in through 180 degrees, it would hang out the side here and it would come into contact with the vehicle trims, which would show you that it's not in the correct place. Then, to screw the panels together, we use these blocks, or what we call batten. They have 2 holes in one orientation and 1 hole in a third orientation. And these are completely common throughout the kit. So with all VanLab kits, every part is either completely unique, it can only fit in the right space, or it's completely common and it can be used throughout the kit. If we open A1 up again, what you can see is actually engraved onto the part of A1 is not only its name, but is also these boxes and these pilot holes here. So all your parts are pre-drilled for you. And what these are telling you is this is where that batten's going to go. And where you've got 2 pilot holes, you're going to screw those in. When you drop A1 into place, the corresponding parts next to that are going to have their pilot holes drilled, and then you just join the dots. So you put A1 in, then A2, then A3, then move on to B, 1, 2, 3, C, 1, 2, 3. Typically, our team, we will be able to install an NV kit in a morning, but generally we advise to take a couple of days over it and really kind of enjoy the build process. We've done all the design work for you, so there's no measuring, there's no cutting, and there's no adjusting or designing. You basically are just assembling the product into your van. So it's a really enjoyable build. So as I mentioned, this is the sort of overview of the NV kit. We have the backrest behind the driver's seat here, which drops down to the bed mode, and the 2 tables, which can slide anywhere along this top or bottom rail. If we go into what we call day mode, you would typically have 4 cushions in the van, and these form the backrest, which gives you a really nice day kind of seating area. You can see a sink up here and then a top access for our fridge in here. One of my favorite modes in this van is actually what we call lounge mode. So this would be to take the backrest off the right-hand bench and drop it in between the front and rear bench. You also take the backrest from the front bench, drop that down, and just rely on the driver's seat and the passenger seat to hold up this thing here. That means that you can actually lay long ways in like a big L-shaped couch. You could also move one of these tables around onto this top rail to give 2 tables. It's a great spot for like laying long ways, kind of lounging around being able to watch a movie, and really make a great use of space of the van. When it comes time to bed mode, we can drop these 2 tables down onto the bottom rail and move this backrest here into the last available space. And then we have night mode showing you the bed. Another nice feature of this design is even when you're in bed mode, you still have access to the kitchen. So you can still wake up, make a coffee, you still have access to your fridge. You also have access to all your electrical components. So these holes here are for your USB chargers, for your light switches, for your battery monitors. And so you can still charge your phone, check your battery, turn your lights on and off easily from bed mode. We also have this little area down here, and this is actually sized for a portable toilet. So the toilet can live in here if that's what you want to run. And then you can pull it out into this little space for use overnight while the bed is made up. But it also actually just provides an area to get into and out of the van and get changed in the evening or in the morning. Now, looking at the storage in this little van, we go to storage mode. So what we tend to find is in the front seat here, this is where we would run our battery, our inverter, and all our wiring products. Now we have a specific video on the VanLab integrated wiring loom, which is on YouTube. You'll be able to find it. We'll put a link in the description. And that explains exactly how the wiring loom integrates with this kit. But typically we would run all our electrical components here. The reason for this is it's closest to the front and the battery's in the front under the hood in this car. It's also an easily accessible area if you ever need to change any fuses or switch off the battery if you're leaving the van for a long time. To the left of that, we've sized an area for a portable toilet. If you don't want to run a portable toilet, then we provide this panel as well, and that just becomes a standard storage cupboard. Then we've sized all our other areas for a generic duffel bag. In this case, we've modeled a Patagonia 40-litre duffel bag. So it's a really usable space, a really usable size. You can pack your bags, then throw your bags under the bench, and that's kind of your storage area. In the middle bench, we just have 2 storage areas that in the kind of seating area here. And then in the kitchen, up front, we have our fridge area, which is designed for a top opening fridge. So you can there's a lid on that, take the lid off, and that will give you access to the fridge. Underneath that is a large area for kitchen storage. So this would be pots, pans, plates, any food, any kind of kitchen items that you need. Really nice area for them in there. And then at the back, we have our water storage area. So in here, we would have our 2 water tanks, a fresh water tank and a grey water tank. We have a faucet up top and a sink. Now to replace your fresh or grey water, you simply open this door and you have easy access into the back of the van to lift these guys out, refill them, drain the grey, refill the fresh, and throw them back in. One of the really kind of key things about this model is it's super functional. You can totally repurpose the space. You can use it in a bunch of different ways and in a bunch of different modes. And probably one of my favorite things about the design is actually the ability to have a walkthrough through the middle. Now this acts as a really good storage area for a bunch of different items. So in here, we've just kind of put some generic items in here. This is a 7-foot surfboard. If you wanted to store that in just to go for a surf, you can throw that right through the middle and you still have a really usable kind of van space. But probably my favorite is actually storing a bike in there. So this is a large men's mountain bike frame. And when I've used my van for this kind of stuff, I don't even take the wheels off, just roll it in from the back, sit it upright, and off you go. We've also thrown in a golf bag there, just to give you kind of an idea of generic sizes and generic storage. And that can easily fit either across the front here or down the side. And this gives you a really good idea of how practical this little van is and how practical the design is. That basically concludes our overview of the NV design. It's a very brief video of it. We're going to put a link in the description below of how to find the van on our website. And if you have any questions at all, just contact our team. And I hope you found this video useful. Thanks very much.